I'm a former Division I athlete, but is interested in sports entertainment law and currently working in corporate law and contracts. I heard you speak to entertainment and sports being short-term, lack of work, and not lucrative. What advice would you give to someone trying to switch to that field? Should I stay open to my own agency or go to work with bigger sports or entertainment agencies? Will work dry up there as well? Okay, so this is a good question. So everything about the practice of law really deals with, and it's very interesting. So this is what I've discovered after more than 3 decades of being in this field. Everything is about access to money, about access to money. Like this is how firms operate. Like how much money can a firm, will you have access to if you go to a certain firm? So what happens in things like entertainment law or sports and entertainment law is that the clients are a lot of times individuals. They can be entrepreneurs that own sports teams and again, sports is a huge business. I'm not poo-pooing it, but a lot of what people are thinking about when they go into these practice areas is they're thinking about representing talent, which means athletes and other people. And athletes, of course, make tens of millions of dollars a year in many cases. The point is, when you work in sports and entertainment law or in practice areas like that, you're more often negotiating single contracts. You're doing things that are not as likely to generate massive fees. And for that reason, a lot of sports and entertainment firms would be like 1 or 2 firms, mainly 2, but they represent different types of people and things, and there's not as much money involved. That's not to say you can't make a lot of money doing it, but it's more like piecemeal. If you are working in a large law firm, you have all this work in front of you, and you can pretty much sit down and bill clients at your leisure, and they will pay you. Not all of them, of course, but that's the idea. But when you have sports and entertainment clients, that's what happened. I have done entertainment law. I've worked for famous entertainment attorneys during my career. One of them, George Hedges, had lots of he's no longer alive, but I did a lot of work for him. And the work was always don't bill more than a few hours on this, do that. And it was just everything was just very small projects. But that's not to say you couldn't do well in it. I'm just telling you the limitations. And going to work for a sports and entertainment agency might be a very smart thing to do, especially if you're a former athlete, and it might be good for you if that's what you want to do. And when I was practicing law, I saw a lot of people do that. At least in the last firm I was at, a couple of people that were former athletes did that. I think one of them now is general counsel of a major basketball team, and another one did something. So it's a good field, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being in it. I'm just telling you how, from the business standpoint, how there's many times access to less money if you're trying to do it in a law firm. And so that's how I would think about it. I would say if this is something you're interested in doing, that I would commit to it and do what you can to be involved. So you can do very well. So I think I would, if I was interested in going into entertainment, or if I was interested in being an agent, I would try to learn more about it first. And I would talk to people before making the switch, because getting into the type of work you're in now is not easy. And my advice too is always to become an expert in the corporate law and contracts. You really are going to need 3 to 5 years. Once you have that, you're a pretty good attorney if you're at a law firm, because that 3 to 5 years of experience will teach you how to think and how to do things like an attorney needs to. And that thinking process and contacts that you make will be things you can use later in your career. So I hope that was a good answer for you. I know that's a lot to offer, but I've seen a lot of people do this, and I know the stress you may be having with it, making that decision.